Hey you guys, it's Kim from OC Tax Break, and today I want to go over the new 2020 W-4 form. This is the brand new form to have withholdings for your paychecks. It has changed significantly. I have had so many of my clients call asking me to go over this and help them, so I just want to do a little video of how to fill out that W-4 form. Make sure that you guys subscribe, hit that notification bell, give this video a thumbs up if you guys like it, and let's get into it. What is a W-4 form? A W-4 is what you are given when you start a new job to have taxes withheld from your paycheck. You usually put 1 or 2 or 0. Some people put exempt. They have changed that. So in 2020, it's going to be a little bit different. They're saying it's more simplified. I have a lot of people who are saying it's a lot more complicated. But let's go through it line by line so that we can make sure that you guys don't have any questions and aren't confused about it. Let's go over what a W-4 form actually does. So if you guys are under withholding, then you guys at the end of the year will be having to owe on your tax return. And if you do that, you're going to have penalties implemented on you and maybe some interest. And you guys don't want to under withhold. You guys want to either have a little bit of refund or get it just right. I have a lot of clients who are really crappy at saving and they love big refunds at the end of the year. I have no problem with that. Some people do. I totally get it. So I do have some clients who are like, I don't want to give the IRS a loan for the year of my money. But that's all in preference. I'm not going to judge you either way, but I do want you guys to know if you are under withholding, you're going to owe, and then if you're over withholding, you're going to have a refund at the end of the year. So let's go over this form. So now, step 1, box A, you're just going to be putting your first name, your middle initial, and then the next box will be your last name. Box B is going to be your social security number. Underneath that, you're going to put your address and then your city, state, and zip code. Box C in that step 1, you're going to put single or married filing separate. So that's the first box. So if you're single, if you're filing single or you're filing married filing separate, check that box. If you're not, if you're going to do married filing joint or qualified widower, click the middle box. And then lastly, if you're head of household, then you're going to be clicking that last box on there. So why does it matter if you're check marking the wrong box or not? Single, head of household. So because the way that you guys file, like for me, I'm a single mom. I have my daughter 100% of the time, so I'm head of household. I have a different standard deduction than a person who's filing single. So those are really important to make sure that you guys are having the correct deductions from your paycheck. So make sure that you guys look at your last year's tax return. If anything changed, if you were married or anything last year and things are changing for this year, make sure you check with your tax person and make sure that you're clicking the right box. Step 2, you're only gonna be completing this if it applies to you. So if you are married and your spouse has a job, or if you yourself have multiple jobs, then this is gonna apply to you. If it doesn't apply to you, then you can skip this part. If you only have one W-2, then don't worry about step 2. You're gonna go on to the next one to see if that applies for you. But let's go over step 2 for those who it applies to. Okay, you guys, so for step 2, and I'm looking at the form right here just so I can read this correctly to you guys. The most accurate way for you to have those withholding is to choose A, which is to go to that IRS website, go through the questions, and it's going to spit out an amount for you guys to have withholdings. and or extra withholdings, and you're gonna put that number into line 4C. Now, if you don't want to go through that IRS website calculator, then you're going to go to the multiple jobs worksheet on page 3, and then you're going to enter that number on 4C. And then if you only have 2 jobs total, you can check that box on step 2C, and then do the same on your W-4 for your other job. So if you guys have the same income for both jobs and they're very similar, then checking that box is fine too. I always tell my clients to go to that website on step 2A, because that is really going to have the most accurate withholding amount for you. But again, it's up to preference. Some people like to do it themselves. So go to page 3, and then you guys can get your own withholding amount from there. Let's go to page 3 and see what's on there and go over page 3 pretty briefly. Again, you can definitely do this. I suggest the easiest way is to go to the IRS calculator, but if you decide not to, go to page 3, and 1 is going to say if you have 2 jobs, you're going to go to page 4, and you're going to see what withholdings you're going to have. We'll go to page 4 first, and then let's say the higher paid spouse is going to be on that left hand column. So let's say that you guys make $100,000. You're going to go to that, you're going to look in the column for the $100,000 and say the spouse who makes lower income makes $100,000. So you're going to go to that row, and where they intersect, so you're going to look at the $100,000, and you're going to look at this $100,000, and where they intersect on there is what number you're going to put in that line 1 on page 3. So it's pretty simple, nothing too complicated about it. But the next step that you have to do is go to number 3. And then there you're going to enter the number of pay periods that you have per year for the highest paying job. So if your spouse who makes, say, $100,000 in one, and then the other one makes $100,000, the one who makes $100,001, you're going to see how many pay periods they have for the year, and you're going to put that on line 3, and then you're going to divide that and put that on line 4, whatever that number is. And that number you're going to enter on line 4C on page 1. On page 4, there's 2 boxes on there. There's a single and married filing separately, which is the bottom portion, and on the top portion is going to be that married filing joint. So make sure that when you guys are calculating the numbers for page 3, that you guys are looking at the right boxes on page 4. And I know this sounds a little bit more complicated, but it's not. Just make sure that you guys are following along, and if you have questions, just comment down below and I can help you guys out anytime. If you guys are married and single with more than one job, make sure that you're only completing steps 3 through 4B on your highest paying job W-4. You don't need to do it on both job W-4s, because then you're going to be double counting and you're going to be over withholding on both of them. And where it says if you have kids, if you put 2 kids on one, don't put your kids on another one, because then you're gonna have, 4 kids, or if you're putting 3 kids on one and 3 kids on the other, it's gonna be double counting them. So you're gonna be having 6 kids total when you only really have 3. So make sure that you guys are only doing those steps on one W-4 form, and that is the W-4 form on the person who has the highest paying job, or if you're single, on your highest paying job W-4. Step 3. This is where you guys are going to put your qualifying children if they're under the age of 17, or any other dependents. If you're taking care of a parent or a niece or, somebody else that you claim as a other dependent, you'll be putting there. So the first box on the left, you'll multiply the number of kids you have, the qualifying children you have, by 2,000. So if you have 2 children, you'll put $4,000 in that top box. If you don't have another dependent who is not a child, then you're not going to put anything in the box below it. And then in box 3 right there, you're just going to bring down that $4,000 from your 2 children. So make sure that you guys are filling this out correctly so that everything comes out correct at the end and you have the most accurate withholdings that you can. If you do not have a child, you're going to put 0 in that top box. But if you do have some sort of other dependent, then you're going to put $500 in the second box. And if it just depends on how many other dependents. If you have 1, you're only going to put $500 there. If you have 3, you'll put $1,500 there, times however many other dependents you have by $500. And then you'll bring that amount over to box 3. Hope that is not too complicated for you. It shouldn't be. Again, I feel like this is a lot of information, but it's a pretty simplistic form if you follow it line by line. Let's move on to step 4. So step 4A, other income not from W-2. This is going to include capital gains, interest, dividends, and any retirement income that you have that doesn't have withholdings for the year. So add up all of your income for those, and if you don't have any withholdings on it, you're going to put that amount in 4A. So say the total of your retirement income, dividends, interest, capital gains is $2,000. You'll put that number on line 4A. So line 4B for deductions, for itemize, that brings your taxable income down if you have more than the standard deduction. So make sure that you're putting the correct amount there so your withholdings are more accurate and reflect that itemized deduction amount. If you itemize and need to put something in that 4B, you're going to go to page 3, and at the bottom of page 3 it's going to say deductions worksheet. So on line 1 of page 3, it says enter an estimate of your 2020 itemized deductions. So you can use based off last year's if you want to put on there. You can estimate your property taxes, mortgage interest, any charitable expenses, state taxes paid. Well, it's called SALT, state and local taxes paid, and that's capped at $10,000 for 2020. So make sure that you're calculating that correctly. You'll put that in line 1 on page 3. Then for line 2, you're going to enter, if you're married filing jointly, you're going to put that $24,800. If you're head of household, it says enter $18,650, and these are just the standard deduction amounts. So, and if you're single, it's $12,400. So put that in line 2. And if line 1 is greater than line 2, you're going to subtract it and put that number in line 3. If line 2 is greater than line 1, so that means if your standard deduction is greater than your itemized, you're going to put 0 in line 3 and you're not going to need to do anything. Number 4, enter an estimate of your student loan interest, deductible IRA contributions, and any other adjustments. You'll put that in that line 4. You're going to add lines 3 and 4 together, and you're going to put that on line 5. And then you're going to go back to page 1, and you're going to enter that in 4B. And that's going to be the number for 4B. And the W-4 should be complete. And again, if you have questions, just comment down below and I can help you out, or we can schedule a Zoom call and go over it together. Not a problem at all. I hope you guys liked this video. I hope it wasn't too confusing for you. And please subscribe, like, and hit that notification bell so that you guys get notified on more videos like this. Hope you guys have a great day. Bye.